I'm basically an 80-year-old woman in a 30-year-old's body. Okay.
Yes.
Like it's fine. I know who I am.
Good morrow, adventurers, and welcome to our podcast, Good Morrow, the show that discusses all things Dungeons and Dragons and other fantasy genres. We are your co-hosts, Katie and Mandi. I don't know which way you are because it like reverses.
Hey, Mandi.
One of our followers actually inspired this episode tonight. She asked, could you please do an episode focusing on your D&D setup? For example, do you eat dinner while playing? Are there themed foods? How long do you take to get settled in? Is someone usually late? I thought that was funny. And where are the kids, etc. So thank you, Leana. I hope I'm saying that correctly. It's a beautiful name, by the way. Our DM also will be planning on showing what he does to prep for a session, as well as his setup and how it's evolved over the years. Kind of like a DM through the years, like a soap opera. Let's start at the beginning when, gosh, it's been 3 years since we first started playing D&D.
Once upon a time when we played in person. So the setup was a lot different then, but I think it would still be valuable to share how we structured it, what we did. I think the key to our success as playing as parents with, at that point, there were 7 kids among us, right?
4 for us, 3 for you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Was the fact that your house was 2 levels.
Oh my gosh, we could not have done it without. No way.
So the kids were downstairs in the playroom. Older kids were big enough to at least monitor toddlers.
Yes.
Right. And moms and dads too. But I think you and I are just a little bit more helicoptery than Jason and Chris. Would like stick our heads down there and make sure everybody was okay. Everybody was safe, all that fun stuff. But I think that played a key. That was a key strategy, is having a place for the kids to go.
100%.
Also, like, I know you guys are pretty strict on screen time. So are we. So we would save like movies and stuff for when all of us got together. And we would like try to make it a big deal. Like, I know you would make treats for the kids, or like I would come over and we'd like make caramel corn or something like that to make them like engaged and excited. I don't know how many times they watched The Black Cauldron, because for some reason my kids are nuts about that movie. Now the setup, I think we're all playing after the kids go to bed. Really. I mean, with the exception of John.
Yeah. Because we're on different time zones, because he's on the East Coast and you're in
West Coast. He's on the West Coast.
Gosh.
You're on the East Coast and I'm in the central of the United States. But also
interesting.
John doesn't have to play after bedtime because his wife is there, who does not play. She's played with us before, and I wish she would play with us again because I had lots of fun playing with Christina.
Same.
But she's just too busy with all of her super awesome goals and her kick butt career, all that fun stuff. So girl needs some downtime. But Christina, if you're listening, we want you to play with us at some point.
She played a great frog.
I don't know. What did you like? Is there anything else I'm missing from that setup? I mean, we did Sunday dinners.
Yep, we did. We would usually play on Sundays or Saturdays. And then the more we played, it turned into like
Saturdays
basically all
Sundays.
Of the weekends. Yes. Holidays. But yeah, you got the second level thing, which was vital for us. Also because all of our children are very loud. There's no other word for it. And
especially when they're all together.
Oh my gosh, it's just like it magnifies.
Like when we get together this summer, I think all of us need to have like earplugs or something. Or the babies need they do headgear.
They have those little ear ones that we got one of ours when we were moving.
Yeah.
And they're so cute. Oh my gosh.
But no, I think that needs to happen.
Every time we played, we would plan out and we would rotate which one of us was going to make dinner for that. So Chris and I would have dinner one like Saturday, and then you guys would do dinner on Sundays, and then it would rotate next week or whatever. And we did always take a break. Well, sometimes we would usually take a break to have the dinner, and we would get the dinner for the kids, and either they would eat it and we would all eat and I'll just chat and then go back to playing. Basically, we're going to go play and the kids are going to play. Or sometimes what we did is we would put that special movie on, like you said, in the other room upstairs with the food, fun treat for the kids or whatever. And then we would play. So that was something fun that we did. And Leona did ask if we had themed foods,
which we have done before. And like, yeah, one stands out actually for me. It's when we started our very first homebrew campaign, not the starter kit one. Chris asked what each of our characters' favorite foods would be.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
And we had, or like what they would have eaten on the daily.
Yes.
And we each kind of supplied one thing, and he made sure like one thing was there, which was super cute. I thought that was really fun, but we've also done a lot of cooking out of the D&D cookbook.
Why do I not have this upstairs? Dang it. I missed the opportunity.
That would have been good, but we all have it.
Pause and go get it.
I mean, you could.
I'll be back.
Katie needs a prop.
My headset.
And then I'm just going to be here by myself.
Don't say anything weird.
She said, don't say anything weird. What would I say? She's not here. I could pontificate on elves as a race. I don't like, what does she want from me? Now I feel like I have to say something weird, John. Heroes Feast. That's the name of it. So we've done a lot of cooking out of that. And like, we've even taken that into our family. Like we try to do a D&D dinner once a week.
Oh, I love that.
Which is just fun. And we try to play D&D as a family too. We should probably talk about that at some point, like playing with your kids.
Yeah.
Just because there's a little bit more challenges. And
yes, we've done it once successfully. And I
mean, I think you got to lower your expectations as to what success is going to look like, especially when you're playing with ages 10 to 7, or, even 4, 5. Like it's
going to be chaotic.
In a completely different way than
yes.
Dungeons and Dragons normally is chaotic.
Yes. Let's clarify that.
But we kind of just treated it as a family affair. Like my kids looked forward to D&D night because they knew they would get to spend at least 8 hours with your kids usually.
Yes, because we were definitely long-winded and in like the best way possible because we had so much fun playing and the kids had so much fun playing. So it worked out beautifully.
I think that's really the key too. Our kids all get along really well. I mean, there were a few times where we had to like get after kids, but I really can't think of a lot of them.
No, not really.
I think there was maybe a couple times that they were just being kids.
Yep.
You throw a couple 9-year-old girls together and
drama will ensue.
It's just what's going to happen. It's just not good. But
oh gosh. Yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else that we may have missed. Let's see. When we were in person.
No.
Yeah, no.
We're all way too obsessed.
Yes.
And also I think we're like way too good of friends at that point. Like, meaning if I was going to be late, I would tell you, and then Chris would razz me about it in the best way possible. And then I wouldn't be late.
Yeah. Yeah. We really, no one's ever been late.
I think there's been a couple times where like Jay and I have had to be like, hey, we can't start like just like 2 weeks ago, right? Or a week ago. It's like, hey, we can't start until 8:15 instead of 8 because the plumber is still here. And it'd be weird to start playing D&D with the plumber still here.
I'm going to attack them and kill them and fireball.
Yeah, I often wonder what it would be like to just like walk in on somebody playing D&D virtually if you can't hear the other side.
Yeah, you can't.
Right?
Headsets.
Our D&D setup. I mean, another interesting thing I think we could talk about, like how we're couples, right? So we have you and Chris have a really cool setup where you guys like basically have like an office / bedroom together.
Literally been in every house we've ever lived in because we've never had enough rooms.
Yeah, Jay and I actually really want to do that. Like we've been talking about how like we're doing a bunch of stuff with Good Morrow or like we're working on stuff and we'd like to be able to spend time together, but not
necessarily doing the very same thing. Yes.
Yeah. But so right now our office spaces are separate. Like Jason has an office space down in the living room And I have my standing desk and like everything in our bedroom because, again, we don't have enough rooms because I have a small village that I am raising.
This is true. So when you play D&D, I know sometimes I see you guys at different spots. Are you usually at your desk and he's...
Ideally, we'd like to stay at our desk because like I have a external screen that I like to have like the player's handbook up on and
I forgot that you had that.
And my character sheet. So I can look at both while still having everybody up because I'm not bad at playing sorcerer, but I'm also not super good and I'm trying to get better. So I want the player's handbook and like everything up there at the same time.
Which is a really nice setup because speaking from experience, I have one screen and it's a great screen. But I don't have the player's handbook up, but I have like, we've talked a little bit before what we use. So like I have D&D up, D&D Beyond up. We also have Roll20. And then sometimes with the connectivity issues, we've also had Discord up. And so I've got like little bits and I'll go back and forth to make them bigger or smaller. So like if we use Roll20 and we're doing a map scene, I'll scroll out so I can see everything, but then I'll jump back to D&D Beyond when we're rolling.
The external monitor is really nice because I have a big one. I have like a 22-inch screen.
Very nice.
So I can just throw, if we're having like a big moment in Roll20, I'll switch them really quick and try to look at everything, which can be a detriment because sometimes I'm like, oh, there's a lot of stuff. But that's mostly Mandi having analysis paralysis and not that it's a bad decision to do. Yeah. So we're normally separate that way. Okay. And also because I'm going to be DMing next at the end of the month, actually. Yeah,
the end of the month.
I got to do some more work.
Yeah, I got to work on my character more too. Flesh out.
We're going to be playing separately because how it's positioned, like Jason would be able to see like my DM stuff.
Okay.
So there will be lots of that.
Okay.
How do you guys do that?
So we still always had our office space in our bedroom. So we were both in our bedroom, but we were having a lot of echoing and just issues for all of you all. So eventually I went out into the living room, which worked a lot better. But the lighting was really terrible. So
you did look spooky sometimes.
I did. So that's how that was. But here we have pretty good lighting and obviously it's just in our bedroom. So I'm here and then he's over there. Which is why I always look to the right, not just, a random wall. But it's pretty nice size. So like if I look to my right, I can see his screens because he also has 2 screens. But I just have to practice self-control. Which in very, very intense moments is incredibly difficult. How long do you take to get settled in? Now I think we try really hard to only go for 3 hours. I say only, and I'm sure some of you are like, oh my gosh, that's so long.
It goes by so fast.
So every night when we play and I look at the clock on my computer and it's like 10:30, I'm like, no, we only have an hour and a half left.
I'm always like, no, how did this happen?
I know.
So we try to go to only 11 or go to, it's 11 my time.
Yeah, 11 your time. But sometimes like, especially if we've just started a combat or the RP is really heavy, we just keep going and it's like 1:30 and we're like, at least for us.
It's hard to stop a party mid-moment, whatever that moment is.
Yeah, it's very difficult to find when a good time is because there have been a few times where he has just had to abruptly
stop us like mid-combat or something.
Just the worst because you're like, wait, no.
Well, and it's hard, I think, as a DM because you also want to maintain the like integrity of the game because it's hard as a player when you're like mid-fighting a vampire and you have to stop and you're not going to play for another week. How is your brain not going to start going, I could do this and this and this and this and this, so you want to maintain the integrity of that. But then there's also just tracking it is so hard. Remembering initiative order, remembering all that stuff. Because sometimes you have really good note takers. Like the last 2 sessions, I've been awesome at notes. My entire pregnancy is just ridiculous. Any lore I remember is up here from that time.
Which is still impressive. Like you've got to still trap that one.
Sometimes for weird stuff. Harry Potter and let bygones be. Like that's all. Like no. So our setup.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of like other things we've done. Like
same.
I've played standing up before because I was tired. So that's been helpful.
I have had to, and we've talked about this before, specifically, it really only started when I was pregnant last year. And I got really tired and then it just hit me and I would literally just start falling asleep. And then y'all would get quiet and I'd wake up. So I learned, instead of like leaning back and getting all comfy and with my blanket because I was cold, because for some reason when I'm pregnant, I get cold and then hot and then whatever. It's the whole thing.
I mean, I can give you the science behind that, but I don't think you want
I
it.
don't know.
But so finding ways that you're comfortable, I think, especially when you're playing digitally.
It's very important.
Because there's definitely a different energy when you're playing in person, right? Like it's just RP's easier when you're in person. There's just
that is
not that playing digitally isn't fun, because this absolutely is a blast and it's the highlight of my week every week. But there's just a different energy, right? Like there's, and especially like for people like my husband where RP is a little bit more difficult, it's easier to join in when it's in person. Right. Yeah. So trying to find ways to still have that same energy. And for me, that's standing up.
Yeah, I would agree. 100%. Whenever I have recorded anything for, social media or like singing stuff or acting, I always stand because there is an energy to it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, I think I might play our next session standing up, honestly, because I've worked a lot of hours this week.
See, now I want to do that because I feel like I'm just always in more character when you're doing it. And again, I mean, no idea why.
What's funny is like, and I think it'd also be easier to do body language.
When 100%,
you're standing up.
Yeah.
Because like, I don't sit like I have Feyre in my head sitting. Like Feyre is very prim and proper, and her entire life was taught doing the right thing all the time. So like she's ramrod straight all the time. I'm not like that. I grew up in a ranching community. That's not my life. Like I grew up like this. Okay. There's a lot of ducking.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I wanted to go back a little bit because I had a comment on how long it takes us to settle in.
Yeah, you were laughing. Why are you laughing, Mandi?
Because I think it's different depending on the week. Sometimes if Chris is like super excited and thinks he's going to kill someone.
Yeah.
He'll start immediately and be like right out the gate, ready to go. And then sometimes we take a little bit to like chat and like warm up a little bit. And part of me thinks we do better on those nights where we're able to warm up a little bit with each other.
Probably.
Like
I could see that.
I can't really think of anything else that we've done setup wise. Really. Yeah.
I think that's probably it. I hope that was beneficial for you all and that you learned something that you could take away from how we do our setup for D&D, whether it's been in person or online. And we are so grateful to have you all here. Whether you are on your way to work, cleaning around the house, kicking back and hanging out, or mindlessly scrolling on your phones, we're grateful that you've joined us. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, or any other favorite podcast app so that you can be immersed in fantasy and hear our interesting spin on D&D and how you can have that in your D&D game as well. Stay tuned for our next episode, which will be something amazing. Don't know what yet.
Yeah, we don't know yet. We deviated actually from the plan. We were going to talk about character death today, but then we decided we wanted to do that with the whole party instead.
That's right. Okay. We could figure it out right now. Yeah. So stay tuned for next week where we will have something very special and a surprise for you. Don't know what that will be.
It might just be a really short one telling you why elves are the best race.
It could be. Stay tuned.
And it'll be 30 seconds and I will be taking no rebuttals.
Well, thank you all. We will see you on the morrow. Bye. Wow, that was like a weird.
You're hitting puberty a couple weeks in a row here.